This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And it is a blustery Monday here.
Yeah, it was a windy walk on in here.
Well, it's always a windy walk here, but it was windy everywhere else around here today as well. I don't know what's blowing up from where, but
it's just marching in the Berg, I assume.
It
right?
is marching into the Berg, and we are marching. Well, it's March 24th, so we're getting closer and closer
like
to
30
April.
days away, something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, draft is right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Which means there's this lull before the storm, too.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. So I did a little research over the weekend, and somebody did some research as well on in the comments section on YouTube and looking into what we talked about early last week.
Yeah, this is interesting to me.
With how difficult it is to replace a true Hall of Fame franchise legend quarterback. And so I looked up, the guy either has to be in the Hall of Fame already, or is going to be in the Hall of Fame. So like Breeze and Brady qualify.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't do like Eli Manning.
Well, he didn't get in first try, so that's not a slam dunk, right?
I also went 2000 and on, basically.
Okay,
because
we're not going Bart Starr and Bradshaw.
Yeah, and I did that because, for example, when the 49ers moved on from
Montana,
from Joe Montana.
Sure, they won.
It was pre-free agency.
Yeah.
And so Steve Young was on their roster, and he wasn't
sitting there, right?
He wasn't going anywhere. You could sit on Steve Young for 5 years if you wanted to.
I mean, to their credit, though, they sent the Bucks the first-round pick, with the foresight to think that through. But that's obviously a really weird situation, too. And you probably couldn't sit.
You couldn't do that today.
They'd both be $50 million players.
Yeah, you just couldn't. You just couldn't do it in today's game.
I was going to say free agency might be my line of demarcation too.
I looked at it that way, and I thought, that's.
I forget what year it started.
93.
Okay.
My first year covering the league was the first year of true free agency.
Okay.
So I looked at the Broncos post John Elway.
And they even had a guy in place. They had Maddox.
Well, they had moved on from Tommy Maddox because Elway wouldn't talk to him.
Okay, Maddox was drafted when Elway retired. Maddox wasn't there to take it over.
The replacement was Brian Greasy.
Okay, second-round pick though. I'm just trying to think how these teams prepared. At least they had the idea in mind with the Maddox pick.
Now remember, they won two back-to-back Super Bowls with Elway,
and he wasn't. I think he's one of the most underrated players in NFL history, not because of those two, because he went to 3 with – I bet these two younger pups couldn't name you a whole lot of Broncos on that Elway team.
Yeah.
People are like, the 3 Amigos. I'm like, well, name the 3 Amigos. They're not the 3 Amigos if it's not for Elway. There's like Carl Mecklenburg, but they're not loaded with Hall of Famers.
Sure, it was Martin Short.
Dancing, Singing Bush. And, right.
So 6-10. 11-5, 8-8.
So he left a good team, though.
He left a
real good team.
A Super Bowl team.
Shanahan, who should be in the Hall of Fame.
And Shanahan was still the head coach.
Right.
6-10, 11-5, 8-8. So 25-23 with Brian Greasy as your quarterback.
And he wasn't a terrible player.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't Elway, but
Miami post Marino. This actually looks pretty good, but
I'm trying to think what those teams look like.
11-5, 11-5, 9-7. That was coming off the Jimmy Johnson years.
Ooh, okay. So Johnson and Marino overlapped. That wasn't a Shula retired.
Johnson basically retired when left when Marino retired. Maybe smartly.
Might have something to do with
because this was Dave Wanstead at this point. So 11-5, 11-5, 9-7.
Okay.
They did win a playoff game. They went 31-17, won a playoff game. Jay Fiedler, their quarterback.
Who was the starter here?
Jay Fiedler.
Mitchell had got traded.
Beat the Colts in overtime in 2000.
Wow.
They haven't won a playoff game since.
I'm going to say it hasn't been good since. Right. I mean,
they have not won a playoff game since 2000. We're talking about the Miami freaking Dolphins.
Yeah. Their search for the next Marino is still ongoing, though.
Miami Dolphins. This is one of the corners. The Broncos and Dolphins. If you're looking at the hierarchy of the AFC, the Steelers, Broncos, and Dolphins and Raiders were the the four
they were in it every
cornerstones.
Year, right? Even before Elway,
yeah,
before Marino, right?
They were the four cornerstones of the AFC for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Denver and Miami have not had a lot of playoff success lately, to say the least.
The 49ers post Steve Young.
Okay.
Now remember, I couldn't go with Montana because he was basically
really a strange situation on that one.
So they went 6-10, 12-4, 10-6.
Okay.
So they went 28-20. They did have a playoff win. They beat the Giants 39-38 in 2001, but then went 9 consecutive seasons without a winning record.
I say then there's a lot of barren time.
Without a winning record.
Yeah.
Almost a decade.
I'm sure you're way more tuned into this, but I mean, like Miami's a good example, or Elway's a real good example of these guys retire kind of on top when they have a pretty good team, or they wouldn't have come back for the last year if they didn't have a pretty good team.
Right.
So maybe caretaker quarterback wins you 10 games the next year, and then the bottom falls out.
And the bottom falls out.
Yeah, and then there's no one waiting in wings.
Dallas after Troy Aikman.
I bet this is bad.
5-11, 5-11, 10-6, 20-28 with no playoff wins. They did have the one appearance when they went 10-6, but they didn't win a game.
And their playoff success since isn't good.
Not great, yeah.
Right. Who was that quarterback? Walsh wasn't still there.
You're talking about Quincy Wilson.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there was a myriad of guys in there.
Right.
I mean, they were running everybody and anybody out there.
That's a team too that has not used high picks on quarterbacks since Aikman at all.
Yeah. Brett Favre in Green Bay.
Well, he hands us to Rodgers.
6-10 the first season.
Really?
After going 13-3 in Favre's last year.
Wow. Okay.
So it was a good team.
Yeah.
And they went 6-10, then 11-5, lost to the Colts or the Cardinals in the wild card game, 51-45. You remember that game?
Yeah.
Wow. And then went 10-6 and won the Super Bowl.
Okay. But Rodgers was not an instant success.
No, he was 6-10.
Yeah, I mean, as first-year starter guy, he was first-round pick waiting in the wings, but he wasn't like MVP
People
Rodgers
were like,
right off the bat,
did they make the right decision?
Yeah, right. Okay, interesting.
The Cardinals post Kurt Warner. Remember,
this can't be good.
He had 4 starting seasons there. He took him to a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was Pro Bowler like every year. Yeah. He was a really good player for them. I don't think he goes to the Hall of Fame without the Cardinal part.
Right, yeah. That was the part to put him over the top. 5-11, 8-8, 5-11. 18-30 with no playoff appearances.
I just know the Larry Fitzgerald quarterbacks.
The quarterbacks are Kevin Cobb.
Skelton. And, I mean, it's really bad for a long stretch, basically until Kyler.
And the reason I only did 3 seasons with these guys is because it's been 3 years since Ben.
Oh, okay.
The Steelers have had 3 years.
Yeah, you have 3 years to go off
of. The Broncos post Peyton Manning. I didn't include the Colts post Manning because if you remember, his last year there
was a really weird one.
He didn't play at all.
He was, for people that don't remember, I don't know if he was injured in week 1 or in the offseason.
I think it was the offseason. It was elbow.
Because he had a neck.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was.
And he didn't play.
They thought his career might be over.
Yeah, he didn't play it down that year.
And to show how bad they were without him, they earned the first overall pick.
They get the first overall pick and got lucky.
They were horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, without Manning.
So I didn't include that in it because really
But realistically, you should include that season, which was like
horrendous.
1 win or 2 wins or whatever.
Yeah.
It was first pick of the draft bad.
So the Broncos post Manning, and again, they had just won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
They had one of the best defenses in the league.
No, they had great defense.
Yeah.
I mean, Manning did not win them the Super Bowl. It was the defense.
It was the defense.
Von Miller and
right. 9-7, 5-11, 6-10.
Wow.
20-28. Last year that was in 2015 that he retired. Last year was their first playoff appearance.
I was to say they had the
since
longest
Manning
stretch,
retired.
I think, going playoffless seasons, right?
The Saints post Drew Brees. They were 12-4 in his last season.
Okay.
Won a playoff game. I think they won a playoff game. 9-8, 7-10, 9-8, 25-26. No playoff appearances.
Wow. And really maxed out I mean, they're a weird build too. Like they maxed their credit cards out then, but then kept trying to keep winning, and it slowly just down the toilet.
The Patriots post Brady.
This is bad.
7-9, 10-7, 8-9. Remember, I only did 3 years. The last couple years have been really bad.
Bad.
Your 7-9, 10-7, 8-9 are with the guy that everybody says is the greatest coach of all time.
Mm-hmm.
of all time.
Right.
And you had 2 losing
and they were really
teams.
good teams too.
Yeah,
I mean, they had a defense.
Again, they went 12-4 Brady's last year.
I say Belichick's last 2 years, I thought they would have correlated with that. Must not have. Were real bad. I mean, Belichick's last 2 years were horrible.
25-25, no playoff wins. They did make one playoff appearance in Mac Jones' rookie year.
Okay. Yeah, he was kind of a hot commodity there for a while, for one season.
The Bucs post Brady. Now that's only been 2 seasons, but they've gone 9-8 and 10-7, 19-15. They did win a playoff game. They beat the shell of the Eagles last year.
Yeah. But they've been good.
They've been good.
I mean, I'm impressed with that organization.
Again, 9-8 and 10-7.
Right.
The Steelers post Ben. 9-8, 10-7, 10-7, 29-22, 2 playoff appearances. Again, no wins.
We know that, right?
We know that.
Right.
We're well aware. But
it stacks up as well as any of the others.
29-22 in the 3 years without your franchise quarterback. And, by the way, you've started, 5 different guys?
I know you didn't do Eli, but I bet they're like 3 wins, 4 wins, 5 wins. I mean, they were miserable even at the end and haven't been good since. Matt Ryan's been bad.
The funny thing was looking at some of the guys that some of these teams turn to.
Oh, that's got to be
Quincy
hilarious.
Carters and
yeah.
I mean,
it's I mean, not many of them went to Russell Wilson or brand name guys. Let alone had a real good succession plan in place either.
It's hard.
It's real hard, right?
And this is what
you want to hold on to the end of the Breeze. I mean, I can't harp on it enough. I mean, the last time the Saints used a first-round pick on a quarterback was Archie Manning.
Yeah. So the 2001 Cowboys.
They go a long stretch without taking quarterbacks, too.
They started 4 different guys at quarterback that year, the year after Aikman.
And they still had Irvin and Emmett and
Quincy Carter.
A really tough offensive line. And, that was still a good team.
Quincy Carter, Anthony Wright, Ryan Leaf, Clint Stoner.
Nice.
They all started at least 2 games that year.
Wow. Ryan Leaf. Man.
The next season in 2002 was Chad Hutchinson and Quincy Carter. Okay. So they had drafted Hutchinson, but he was like a 28-year-old rookie.
Yeah, he was a very overaged rookie.
Yeah. And then the following season, it was Quincy Carter the whole way.
Quincy Carter was a second-round pick that they kind of had hope for.
Yeah. 17 touchdown passes, 21 interceptions.
I urge people to go check out the Falcons after they drafted Matt Ryan and the Cowboys after they drafted Aikman, the quarterbacks they invested in for 15 years. There's none. I mean, until they get the Penix in Atlanta, it's like a 7th round throwaway pick. It's nothing. Dallas is kind of the same way. I mean, just totally ignored the position.
And I get it. I mean, you're trying to win and win as many games as possible while you have your franchise guy.
Right. And some of the logic is, if our guy gets hurt, it's the Manning Colts. If our guy gets hurt, we're going to be terrible anyways.
Yeah.
There is no
backup. It just so happened
for
the Colts, it worked. It actually worked out semi-well for them, not in the long run, but Manning went down in the year. You happen to have a generational talent.
Right. That anyone would have picked Luck.
If that had happened the previous year, that was the 2012 draft.
Is that like the E.J. Manuel was the first guy off the board draft?
Yeah.
And you're picking first without a quarterback.
You're picking first, and there's no quarterback worth taking.
You may end up with Luck again the next year.
Yeah.
Because you've been so bad. Wow. And again, those were good teams. They still had Harrison and Wayne and Edge.
Right.
Gonzalez
Hall of Famers all over the place.
Tarek Glenn, Saturday. I mean, they were pretty well in place.
But so when people talk about the Steelers, A, having no succession plan in place, B, they're in a quarterback wasteland right now. Welcome to the club.
Yeah. I mean, you had it really good for a while.
This is what it's like when you don't have that guy and you keep trying to get that guy until you get one.
I mean, it's just kind of how the world works. It's how sports works. If the Chiefs start to fall off a cliff, no one's going to cry for the Chiefs.
No.
When the Patriots fell off a cliff, no one's boo-hooing about that.
Mahomes, he's 30 now, right?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. He could decide, let's say he plays 2 more years.
Maybe he does the Andrew Luck thing and says, I've done enough.
Yeah, I've done enough.
Right.
I got a bunch of young kids at home now. I just want to go do that. I've got plenty of money in the bank.
Oh, yeah. He can do whatever he wants, right.
I'm good.
It's probably going to go bad.
It's going to go bad.
It's going to go real bad.
Yeah. Maybe he decides when Andy Reid retires, I'm done. I don't want to play for another coach.
I can't talk enough about the Luck situation, too. I don't know if Luck would have ended up in the Hall of Fame, but I do believe
he was on that trajectory.
He really was. Yeah. When the day he retired, he was a top 3 quarterback. I mean, he was behind Brady maybe, and he was not Mahomes, but I mean, it'd be like if Burrow retired today. And he retired like not even this time of year. It was after the draft. And they've been pretty bad since. You know, I mean, they've been searching like crazy. Matt Ryan, and Rivers, and now Richardson. I mean, like, you talk about retreads and not having a plan. How could you have a plan?
Yeah. The one thing that the Steelers haven't done yet, and I say yet, yes, they drafted Kenny Pickett, but he was the 20th pick in the draft.
That's different than...
They didn't go up and get a top 10. They didn't trade up to go get Anthony Richardson.
We love this dude. We're going to put all of our eggs in that basket. Yeah. Right.
They weren't the 49ers and said, we're going to trade up and go get Trey Lance.
Right.
And then Brock Purdy falls into their lap. Like, they haven't taken that swing at this yet.
No. And I don't think it'll happen this year.
No.
Who knows about a year from now? I mean, I don't think it's something they're against.
No, I don't. No, they're certainly not against it.
Right.
And I think that's why when we talk about the compensatory picks that they've collected this offseason,
they can be real useful.
Doesn't mean that you have to use them necessarily next year.
And I'm sure that there's quarterbacks that they really liked that didn't turn out to be great ones. But I know for a fact, and you know for a fact, they were really high on Mahomes. They were really high on Lamar. But
they liked Dak Prescott the year he came out and had meetings with him. And looked at him, okay, he's a third-round guy. And then he gets a DUI, right before everything happens, and you bump him down around, and the Cowboys take him instead.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff, too. So I don't know that that's didn't have a plan.
You can love a guy in the draft.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you can get him.
The Packers' approach is just so weird. Like, the Colts Manning the Luck thing fell in their lap. That's Tim Duncan falling to you whenever you're bad.
And it took a catastrophic injury.
It took a catastrophic injury, right, where Rodgers, and we talked about this last week, I don't think they had any intentions of taking Rodgers. He was just sitting there in the green room forever, and it's like, we didn't plan on going quarterback here. They didn't trade up for him, you know?
So I in that regard, I do get the Steelers taking swings with the guys that they're taking swings with. All right, you bring in Russell Wilson. You drafted Kenny Pickett. That didn't work out. You bring in Russell Wilson last year, future Hall of Fame guy, and say, okay, let's see what this looks like. Maybe you didn't like it. There were maybe personality clashes.
There
whatever.
weren't tons of options
that's
last
the other
year
thing.
or this year, right?
If you decide, okay, we're going to try this.
There's not a Rolodex of, we'll just call it Mahomes. We'll call it about, right.
I mean, we're going to try this approach this year. We're going to sign Aaron Rodgers and see what that looks like.
So an example I wanted to bring up, too, is Stafford. Not him necessarily going from Detroit. That was kind of a win-win for everybody. But I have a lot of respect for the Rams organization. I think McVay is one of the absolute best coaches in the league. I think they're heads above the rest of their division right now after Devontae Adams. But they have no plan in place at all for life after Stafford.
No.
And they're not going to take one in the first round this year. Or, I mean, like, when he retires, everyone's going to be like, well, they had no plan in place. I mean, they've ignored it completely. And there's a lot of teams like that, you know, and I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, it's hard with the way the contracts are now structured for these young guys.
You don't know how much longer he's going to play.
Look at the situation that the Packers had with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers his first 2 years. They then decide to move on from Rodgers and trade him to New York. Well, now you're putting it.
I mean, you can't pick up his fifth-year option if he's never played.
You're putting Love in there, and you're saying, okay, they had to give him basically a new contract.
Yeah. And they didn't. They did. I mean, that was a really weird conversation too, because we're going to extend you, give out a contract that really doesn't exist in the league, but you've never played ever.
We've seen you in the preseason and in
practice, right? And we know Aaron's getting older.
One game against Kansas City that wasn't great.
Right. It wasn't great, right? And it's worked out for the most part. I think they made the right choice, and they got picks for Rodgers too. They didn't just let him walk for nothing. But that was put up or shut up. Now, if you draft one in the first round, you can't just sit around.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it sounds weird, but what if the Steelers would have taken Lamar or Mahomes? They'd have been sitting around a long time. Doesn't matter how good they are; they're not going to beat out Ben.
Yeah.
You know,
and people need to understand that the Steelers weren't going to trade Ben unless Ben wanted to go.
Sure. You
know, if Ben had decided, like, I want to go play my last year wherever. But But the thing was, he's coming off an elbow injury.
Yeah, so in the elbow injury, right. Which happens to older players,
if he didn't have the elbow injury and after the 2020 season says, well, I want to go play somewhere else, okay, he's got value. Maybe you could trade him.
It's like a Rodgers trade, to the Jets, right.
But coming off that, the elbow injury, you're not going to trade Ben Roethlisberger for a 5th-round pick.
Right. That doesn't make you better, and he's older and he's expensive, and, who's trading for a guy coming off an elbow injury at his age?
He won, you won 2 Super Bowls with the guy. There is some loyalty there.
Yeah. And they are human beings. It's not fantasy football.
Right.
And you have a locker room that's played with this dude and won a lot, and they're like, you're going to give me a 3rd-round pick and not him? That's what we're going to try to win with this year?
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is tough. It's no man's land in football.
Yeah.
When you don't have the franchise quarterback. Doesn't mean you can't still win.
Sure.
But it is more difficult.
I bet if you went even back further, obviously the Steelers past Bradshaw is not much better. It's not better. It's worse. Steelers post Ben is better than Steelers post Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. And the Steelers post Bradshaw had a plan.
They drafted Malone.
They drafted Mark Malone in the first round.
In the first round, right. Just to sit around on a Super Bowl type team and not do anything.
He had the longest touchdown reception in team
playing
history.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, playing wide receiver because he was that kind of athlete.
I wonder those 70 teams though, Greasy kind of went to Marino. Post Stabler couldn't have been great.
It was actually pretty good.
Stabler would have been good because they had Plunkett and those guys.
You could, Jim Plunkett was the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
But the thing is, back to your original point,
you could stash a guy and. The Cowboys went to Danny White. Well, Danny White had been on their roster forever. He was a
good backup, right?
And, because you just could.
And the key, back to your original point, though, no one's taken Art Shell and Gene Upshaw off the Raiders because Stabler retired,
right?
Because there's no cap and there's no, you still are.
Those guys,
you were a great team.
They couldn't move. They couldn't go anywhere else.
No, right.
Which is why I didn't even look at that era.
Right, that makes sense. It happens that the Steelers lost their super Steelers kind of the same time Bradshaw did. But with all respect to Terry, if he gets hurt in 78 or 79, and you stick somebody else in there, Danny White, they're probably a contender.
Yeah,
they're in the hunt.
They're going to be pretty good.
They're going to be good, right?
Yeah,
right. It's not like there's not a $100 million Mahomes investment.
They won games with Mike Kruchek.
Yeah. Right. They were going to be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, Pro Football Focus is looking here. Every team's best trade asset ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft.
Yeah. There's some names on there that are sort of interesting.
That's what I wanted to roll through this and see if there would be anybody that might pick your interest here.
And I'm sure there's a couple that they're just reaching that really.
You got to put somebody on the list.
On there, right?
For the Cardinals, it's Jonah Williams.
I think they could draft O-line. He's a free agent after this year too. He doesn't interest me, but some team should.
27, yeah.
Yeah.
For
He's
the
27. Huh?
Yeah, the Falcons, it's Kyle Pitts.
That's the one I wanted to bring up. My vote would be no. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's an obvious Arthur Smith connection. He's had injuries. What's weird about Pitts is, and Bowers doesn't have this problem, but teams now just look at Pitts like he's a wide receiver.
Which is what he is.
Yeah. So whenever they do, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, we're going to be in this formation, they just count him as a wideout. And compared to wideouts, he's big and he can run, but he's not Justin Jefferson. He's not going to beat you without routes. He's not Antonio Brown. You know what I mean? You have to have some tight end to get the matchups against linebackers and safeties everybody wants. Yeah. If they just put, Patrick Surtain on you, well, he's not getting open. Know? I'm curious if they do move him, though.
For the Ravens, it's Odafe Owe.
Is he up after this year?
I believe so, yeah.
That would make some sense. I would think that would be if you draft edge.
I just don't know what he's worth.
Yeah. He played pretty well last year. I think he's coming around, but I don't know if they'd even move him.
Yeah, he's 26 years old. They got to make a decision on him. They don't have all their other dudes are getting a little older.
Yeah, that's a potential first-round pick for them as an edge guy.
For the Bills, they just kind of re-upped his contract here. Matt Milano, they're not going to trade him.
No. I don't even know who on that. There must not be any good candidates on that.
I mean, they got maybe an offensive lineman or something, or a defensive lineman you could move, but
maybe.
For the Panthers, it's interior offensive lineman Cade Mays.
I don't think you're gonna get a whole lot for Cade Mays.
I don't think so either. Right. For the Bears, it's Andrew Billings.
Okay, I mean it's different style defense. I mean, he's a nose. It's been around the block, basically. You're not going to get a lot for him.
No. For the Bengals, it's obviously Trey Hendrickson.
You think he goes or not?
No.
You think they just waited out on him and
eventually
make him mad? And
eventually end up signing him to some kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best chance to win this year.
They don't have any cap space.
No, they don't. But he also doesn't have any leverage. I mean, he's under contract for this year.
Yeah. No, he could sit out.
He could.
Come back in week 11 or whatever week it is and play out the string. For the Browns, it's Greg Newsome.
I think he's up after this year, and they just have a lot of future cap issues if they're not going to re-sign him. I mean, I think he might get something in return. He's been miscast a little, been forced to play a lot of slot.
Yeah.
Because they kind of have three outside dudes, but he's done it well.
Yeah. No, he's a good player.
When he hits the free agent market, he'll make money.
For the Cowboys, Micah Parsons.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it will either.
It's just he's going to want the most money of any of these dudes. He's going to want more than Chase, more than Garrett, which if I was his agent, I'd have a really strong case. I deserve it. Dallas, I don't know how – I hate to say this because every team's different, but they don't seem super interested in winning lately. I mean, they don't – they invest in their own.
Well, there's no pressure on the GM at all.
No, right.
Because he owns the team.
And they make more money than any team in the league, and why change what they're doing? But they'd be a really frustrating team to root for right now.
This next guy would be someone I would be interested in if I were the Steelers. Denver Broncos, John Franklin Myers.
Quality veteran, knows what he's going to get. They're kind of in it to win it, though. I mean, I think Denver's in a different place than they were a year ago, like when they were talking about.
They're not going to extend him, though.
They're not going to extend him. Zach Allen's really good.
Yeah.
They'll probably draft. They don't have a ton of needs either. They should draft something in this D-line pool. It'd be a good Steeler, though.
Yeah.
How old? 29, 30, maybe even a little older.
Let me see here. He is 28.
Wow, okay. It'd be useful. I mean, rotational piece.
Yeah.
Different style, but probably play as many snaps as Ogunjobi did or something like that. You
know? For the Lions, Amik Robertson, the cornerback.
They've drafted two high, and they signed one this year. So, it's getting pretty crowded.
For the Packers, it's Romeo Doubs.
I think that's legit.
Yeah.
He's kind of stuck there.
Although
Watson could be out for the year.
Watson could be out for the year, so you probably don't move Doubs.
And Wicks has been – maybe they trade Wicks. He has drop problems.
Yeah. Yeah. For the Texans, safety Jalen Petre.
I don't get that one.
Yeah, I don't either. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
I know he was injured quite a bit last year, but I thought he was a big fan. I thought they were big fans.
They did just trade for C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
They're kind of redundant.
They are. They are the slot safety, do-it-all types. I just think if Petrie was on the open market, he'd get a lot of money.
Yeah, he would get paid.
He wouldn't get Holland money, but it'd be the next tier, Morig money.
For the Colts, wide receiver Alec Pierce.
I wonder if they trade Pittman, too. He's makes some money.
I don't know what the contract details are, but
Pierce is interesting. I mean, Pierce and Mitchell are kind of redundant.
Yeah,
Mitchell was forced to do a lot of slot stuff, but Downs might be their best guy.
Yeah,
I mean, Pittman was really hurt a lot last year too. They do have an extra outside guy.
Yeah. For the Jaguars, running back Travis Etienne.
I think you can get him cheap. He's been rumored for a while.
Yeah, and believe it or not, people, Najee Harris has been a better professional football player than Travis Etienne. I know I got killed Friday for I ripped Najee. I wasn't ripping Najee. I was making a comment on something he said. He was a good football player for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I think he was a valuable football player.
Too, right.
He was the best running back to come out of that draft, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I can't think he was there after Etienne and Williams, but they were the top three. I don't remember anyone being particularly good.
I looked it up about 2 months ago. Najee Harris had like 1,200 more rushing yards than any other player in that draft.
Really?
He has like the third most catches or something like that. His most touchdowns. Like, it wasn't even close. He was the back to take in that draft.
I mean, he's near the top of the list of rushing yards since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, including McCaffrey and Henry, and a lot of it's durability.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a reliability.
But there was an
factor,
argument, was it last 2 years ago, when ATN got off to a hot start.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's the better back than Najee. He can't stay healthy, and he can't. They don't trust him.
I would say I think you could get him for a 5th-round pick,
Yeah.
and they'd be happy just to go Bigsby in a 3rd-round pick this year.
Yeah.
You know.
For the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's also not good in protection.
Right.
Things people don't think
Little
about.
things,
and,
yeah.
you know, Najee doesn't fumble, and, you know.
Cornerback Jalen Watson.
Okay. I assume he's up after this year. I don't know why they'd move on. Not that he's great, but they've had some revolving doors at the corner position. They have a lot more needs than people think, though. Like, their D tackles next to Chris Jones are really rough. We know about the O-line stuff. I would draft a tight end soon. If not, you're talking about succession plans. You know, they got a lot of needs. I think we trading guys away.
For the Raiders, it's tight end Michael Mayer.
He's been out there. I mean, I think somebody would give you something decent for him. I know we haven't got.
I would have to know. Remember, he missed a large chunk of last year for personal reasons. I would have to know.
Oh, they were personal reasons. Okay.
Yeah. What those personal? I mean, did somebody in his family die? If that's the case, okay. I get it.
Sure.
If it was something beyond that, I don't know.
Does he have psychological issues?
Yeah.
Does he have some? I mean, who knows? It could be 1,000 different things. Is he? I'm not trying to spread rumors.
No.
But he might be a drug addict. He might be. I mean, he could be anything.
Any number of things. I don't know what they are, but I would have to delve into that a lot.
Right.
Deeply to know exactly what.
Did he lose interest in the game? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm throwing things out there. I have
ticked
no
off
clue.
because they drafted Brock Bowers.
Sure.
I don't know.
I know that. I'm sure Dallas Goedert is the Eagles one, but those are legit tight ends that somebody could use. You know, right?
For the Chargers, it's guard Zion Johnson.
Well, they signed Becton.
Yeah, they brought in Andre James as well.
Yeah,
they still have Bradley Bozeman and Trey Pipkins.
There was talk that they were going to try to make Zion a center this year.
Well, that's not.
I don't know if that'll happen now.
Yeah.
Bozeman's a center. It's not great interior O-line, but Becton's going to start, and all of a sudden it got kind of crowded.
Yeah.
No, it's 5th-year option time for him
too. Yeah.
Someone should throw something their way. Cowboys or somebody like that.
For the Chargers, it's safety Cam Curl.
He's only been there a year, I think.
Yeah.
And some of their younger, I should know their secondary better, but they landed some guys in the late
Kinchins
rounds.
Was one that I think 3rd-round pick last year.
Some of their later picks hit for defensive backs that weren't huge names.
Yeah, you can get safeties deeper into a draft.
Well, I bet they don't want to. They're going to invest in Derwin. They're not going to invest in both.
For the Dolphins, it's Tyreek Hill.
That's cooled down, but I bet you could pry him away.
For the Vikings, it's defensive lineman Harrison Phillips.
He's more the run stopper than the two guys they signed, but they're all like the same age.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little redundant in terms of just team building.
Well, Harrison Phillips is 29.
Is that much different than Allen or Hargrave, though?
Hargrave's 32.
Older than that, yeah.
Allen's 30.
Okay. That's a pretty decent buck on 3 guys.
Yeah. I mean, I would have some interest in Harrison Phillips.
Yeah. He can still stop the run and old man strength, you know?
Yeah. For the Patriots, it is linebacker Jawan Bentley.
Yeah. Between the tackle thumper.
They signed Spillane. They added Jack Gibbons.
It's a new scheme, too, since a Belichick. I mean, he's a Belichick guy. I mean, he's kind of the Landon Roberts.
They extended Jelani Tavai.
Yeah.
You're only going to keep a certain number there. Obviously, the Steelers don't have a need.
I wonder how many of these names are actual, like, June 1st Cup candidates, too, right?
For the Saints, it's linebacker Demario Davis.
I bet you get what you want from the Saints. I mean, you could get Carr. I don't know if you can get Olave.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone's been drafted in the last 2 years.
I just can't imagine anybody trading for 36-year-old Demario Davis.
Right. I mean, to me, that might be like a trade deadline deal that Fred Warner gets hurt and we need a guy to rent for the rest of the year or something like that.
For the Giants, it's Kayvon Thibodeau.
Especially if Abdul Carter's sitting there at 3.
Yeah.
And they don't go Sanders. I think it's his 5th-year option time, which
I
would think they pick up, but it's not a slam dunk. He's a good player.
But he's not what everybody thought he was going to be coming out.
But if you were like the Lions or a contender, I might throw you 4th, Will that get it done? I don't know.
For the Jets, it's guard Elijah Vera Tucker.
That's an odd one, too, because their line, he just hasn't been, he's probably their best lineman, hasn't been healthy. He can play 4 positions.
But his 5th-year option time.
What about that one? I mean, I'm thinking about Siamalu's replacement a year from now.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't trade for him not to start him this year.
Right.
I mean, that might make Isaac one of your trade candidates, but a lot of that would be my medical staff.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
Have to check it out. As you mentioned, for the Eagles, it was Dallas Goedert. For the Steelers, it's George Pickens.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him doing that at this point.
I'd lean towards no as well, but he would be the name. I mean, if you got to put someone out there, I don't know who else would even qualify.
For the 49ers, it's Brandon Ayuk, which makes no sense whatsoever since they just gave him money.
It is. I think his injury is pretty substantial.
Well, if that's the case, then you can't trade him.
That's the thing. He's been rumored to the Browns, which I don't know how they would pull that off. But I think they're really taking a step back, and they're going to go Pearsall and Johnson, who they like. Is it Jennings or Johnson?
Jennings.
Yeah. But that's so goofy. I mean,
that would be the dumbest thing ever. You just gave him a huge signing bonus.
Right. You probably could have got a first-round pick a year ago.
Right.
Now you get a third.
Yeah.
I mean, at most.
And you got to eat the contract, the signing bonus.
I mean, yeah.
It's nuts.
I mean, if you were to move Pickens, I'd consider trading for Ayuk. But what's his health?
I have no idea what the health situation is. He tore the ACL in week 7.
Contractually, the new team's in pretty good shape with him.
Yeah.
The old team's in really bad shape with him.
For the Seahawks, it's Boye Mafe.
I guess he's getting to that contract time. Wasn't drafted by this group. He's a good player, though.
Yeah.
I had a good year. He's starting to come into his own.
For the Buccaneers, it's Rachaad White.
Yeah.
You can get him for a song and a dance.
Yeah, he's cheaper than ATN.
Yeah.
They love the other guy, Irving, and you could draft one in the mid-rounds and be fine.
For the Titans, it's safety Amani Hooker.
I wonder if there's more on that list.
Oh, there's more for this Titans list, for sure.
Could you price Simmons away? You know, like a real dude.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could get like Treylon Burks for a bag of footballs, but I mean, the rest of the offense you can't be trading because you're trying to build the Ward nest. You can't get Ridley, but I wonder if you get Simmons.
For the Commanders, it's Brian Robinson Jr.
I think he's just a guy.
Yeah.
I'd rather draft past him, you know.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean,
without a doubt.
Eckler doesn't really matter in that equation, but if you can get something for Robinson, sure.
That's the list. There's some interesting guys on
there. There's 20 other names that are going to get cut that are floating around out there.
So.
If you're real into this, folks, just go to every team. I guess it's on Spot Track or Over the Cap. Just who are expiring contracts, and especially after the draft, when they draft someone at that position, you could probably get that dude.
You might be able to get that guy. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Let's get to another break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, we could be headed for a showdown.
A showdown, you say?
A showdown. Regular listener to the show, Joey Bag of Donuts.
Oh, yeah. He's a big-time contributor.
Yes. We appreciate Joey. He does a good job on the social media stuff.
I kind of saw this. I need to click on it. But, okay, coach me up on this, please.
All right.
I guess this is a regular occurrence
every March
year.
He does his Pittsburgh Media Madness.
Yeah, the bracket, right?
The bracket.
Okay.
So in the Three Rivers Stadium bracket.
So there's 4 quadrants like usual. Yeah.
We are in I believe, the South Hills Three River Stadium bracket. Yeah. All right. You're the 4 seed. He goes by Twitter followers. However many followers you have on the X Twitter.
Oh, really? Okay.
For your seeding purposes.
I gotcha. So is there really 64 names on this thing total?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. 4 seed among 64. Let's go. Pretty strong.
You're the 4 seed. I'm the 5 seed.
Nice.
In the same bracket.
Oh, they should not put us in the same bracket.
So, right now, we are
Duke and UNC in the same bracket.
Barreling toward a meeting in around the 32 here.
Okay.
With one of us guaranteed to make the Sweet 16. How about that?
Wow, that's pretty cool. I think I lost to Missy Matthews last year.
It's all about who you get in the matchups.
You're right. It's all about the matchups, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no chance against Missy. Come on. I mean,
none.
Blow me out of the water.
Yeah.
Who do we got to beat to get there?
So you are matched up against Dan Kongursky right now.
I'm not familiar with his work, but I hope I'm favored. I mean, maybe he's a swell dude.
Well, it's a 4-13 game. You should be favored.
I should win that game. Right.
You're barely holding on, though, right now.
I might have to spread the word. Use those Twitter followers.
52.1% to 47.9%. It's a tight matchup here.
Joey, tag me again. I need to spread the word. I can't lose to a 13 seed. I'm sure Dan's a swell dude, but I got to win that game.
I'm in the 5-12 game here against Mike Vukovan.
Okay.
And I'm up 66.5% to 33.5%.
What's the rest of our bracket look like?
Well,
who are the teams to beat?
In the we get if you get into the Sweet 16, you get the 1 seed.
How does that work? What do you mean?
To get through your bracket.
That means we knocked off the 2s and 3s and.
No, they're in the bottom part.
Oh, I see.
We're in the 4-5.
Okay, gotcha.
Madden's the number 1 seed in our bracket.
That's a problem. I assume he's got a ton of followers. I mean, he's certainly on the air a fair amount.
He is beating the pants off of Cale Berger right now.
Poor Cale ran into a buzzsaw. Huh?
Yeah, he's the 16 seed.
Okay.
He is the Robert Morris of the bracket.
There's some folks that aren't real keen on Double M, though.
There are.
There might be. It might be like the most recent political election. People might just vote against somebody.
That can happen. That does happen in this particular bracket.
That's a possibility, at least. If I go against Mark, that's going to be my campaign slogan. Just vote for anyone but him.
Mark.
Right.
And then the 8-9 game in our bracket is between Chris Carter and Rich Walsh.
Quality competition. Okay. Who else is in our bracket just total?
That's in our little quadrant of the bracket. So I don't know where our games are being placed. I think we're in the South Hills.
That's my home.
That's your home.
My neck of the woods, man.
Your home. I'm south of the South Hills.
Yeah, that's not too far a road trip though. Your fans travel.
So just looking at the overall,
I wonder who are the other 1 seeds and
Colby Armstrong in the Heinz Field
is a 1 seed.
Is a 1 seed. He must have a big following on social media.
Former player, obviously.
Over Jake, he and Jay Caulfield going.
Oh, that's kind of like you and I battling, I would think.
Yeah.
I like Caulfield to win that one.
Joe Block versus Adam Crowley is the 8-9 game. Missy Matthews versus Kevin Gorman. Well, Gorman stands no chance.
No, I would say Missy's
going to blow him away.
That's right.
Then you got the 5-12 game. There is Joe Starkey versus Jerry DePaula.
Okay.
The 2 seed is Josh Yohe versus Dan Potash. That's a 2-15.
Okay. That's another one that's kind of hits home.
Mike Pursuta, the 7 seed, against Paul Steigerwald, the 10 seed.
Triv's only a 7 seed. Wow.
Got to work harder on his social media following.
Not really his bag. Yeah.
The 10 seed is Paul Steigerwald. I mentioned that one. So Jerry Dulac, the 3 seed, against Pat Bostic, the 14 seed. Mm-hmm.
Jerry's a stalwart.
And then you got the 5 seed, or the 6 seed, I should say, Greg Brown versus Haley Hunter.
Okay.
I am not familiar with Haley Hunter.
No, there's a handful of names you mentioned I don't know well.
Pittsburgh Sportsnet reporter says Justin. Okay. I'll take your word for that. Bob Pompiani, the 1 seed in the PNC Park bracket.
Pretty lovable fella. He's going to be hard to knock off.
But he's squaring off against Ashley Leotis, the 16 seed.
I'm not familiar with Ashley either.
Ashley, I don't know if they work for the same stuff. But, yeah. You got Doran Dickerson and Alan Saunders, the 8-9.
Okay.
Max Starks versus Josh Roundtree. So Max coming in as a 4 seed as well.
Not a local guy, though. He only flies in for games.
Yeah, but
I'd use that against him in the campaign.
Ray Fittipaldo against Jeff Hathorn in the 5-12 game. You got Michelle Krasecchio is the 2 seed. Again, not familiar with her. She must do hockey stuff.
She must do something well, right?
Yeah. Against Wes Euler. Euler coming in as a 15 seed. Jesse Marshall versus Josh Getzoff. Arthur Motes versus Cassidy Wood. And Seth Rohrbaugh versus Mike DeFabo. And you got the PPG Paints. You got Dejan Kovacevic as the 1 seed against Rob King, the 16.
Rob's a 16 seed.
Kinger's a 16.
You talk about a Cinderella story, dude.
He must not be very active on social media.
I think that's a fact, Jeff.
Yeah.
Because I even remember when the Steelers would tag us for those.
I had to search to find Rob's Twitter handle.
It was just and Rob King, not even like at.
He
Kinger,
has a. I know he has a.
He does.
Yeah, he does. But it's. he's not real active on it.
Acclaimed author, though.
Yes, he is. Sword in the Stone, or Door in the Stone.
Yep.
Jenna Harner versus Andrew Stockey. Jason Mackey versus Mike Asti. Chris Mueller versus Brian Batko. Andrew Filipponi versus Joe Brand. Bill Hillgrove versus Matt Venzel. Rob Rossi versus...
I'm guessing Bill's not super involved on Twitter nowadays.
He is not, but he's a sleeper.
It's a strong... I mean, who's voting against him?
Yeah, he's a 7 seed. Wow. A strong 7 seed.
I'd say if any 16 seed...
Kinger's
a pretty strong 16
pretty strong
seed.
16. I think he's actually whooping Dayon's butt right now.
Wow. That's not an easy battle either. But I mean...
Rob Rossi versus Shelby Cassesi, and Dave Molinari versus Phil Bork.
Boy, they match some of the hockey guys together. I mean... Drive team could be going at it one another.
1-on-1, me and you, brother.
Wow.
In the bottom part of our bracket, we've gone through the top part of the bracket.
He'll probably beat me by less than 1 point, like the fantasy league.
Kaboli versus Austin Bechtold. Not familiar with Austin. Taylor Haas versus Chris Adamski. Bob Labriola versus Joe Rudder. Labs is a 3 seed.
Old school battle.
How about Labs is a 3 seed?
He's a social media master.
He could end up in the bottom part of that bracket. The 6-11 game is Tim Benz versus Donnie. I'm not going to say what they call him on that show. Donnie, I can't think of his last name now.
I don't know.
Well, they call him Donnie Football, but that's not his last. Chedrick.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he actually went to college with my son. But,
okay.
Could be Benzie and Labs in the.
That'd be a good battle.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can ask Labs about that on Wednesday. I guarantee he knows nothing about it.
As I say, some of the heaviest hitters aren't real busy on Twitter in pursuit of Labs. And I mean, some of the dudes we're closest with. I mean, Rob. I mean, some of these dudes
I saw it this morning when I got up. I had some things to do this morning, and
we're definitely bringing us up to Labs.
I'm sitting around, and I'm like, oh.
Interesting. I did see that, and I meant to click on it and didn't.
But anyways,
I guess I'm not faring very well in round 1.
Joey
right?
Bag of Donuts, a follower of the show. We appreciate Joey, and you can check that out on his feed, which is, I believe, just at Joey Bag of Donuts.
I think so, yeah. He sends in a bunch of questions. He's great. Yeah,
one of the best feeds in Pittsburgh. You can check that out. But let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. That's going to do it for hour number 1. Matt and I will be back with hour number 2 right after this. And welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. This is the start of hour number 2 here on the Steelers Audio Network and for The Drive here on Steelers Nation Radio. And, Matt wasted no time in trolling for votes.
I know.
In the break there. But anyway.
Filled my water and hit a quote retweet. Get your votes in. And I got a 52% lead, and I'm a big favorite. He can't lose in round 1. I don't mind losing to Madden. He's a defending champ. Or even losing to you. I can handle that. But I would think we might cancel each other out.
You just lose to me in fantasy football.
I was going to say, I'll lose by 1 point, under 1 point for all the marbles.
You've never beaten me. Anyways, it is mock draft time here. Mm-hmm. Let's do Pro Football Focus today. We did them Friday. We did the Pro Football Network, I think, Monday and Wednesday last week. I don't know if they've started to adjust their rankings a whole lot yet, but we're getting to that time now where teams or people start to kind of lock in their rankings here. I just saw Xavier Restrepo ran a 4.83 40.
That's what you said, really.
It is pro.
He's not a long speed guy. He's a Welker, shifty type. But
4.83 is
brutal.
Yeah,
and that costs you money.
I'm not saying I could run a 4.83.
I'm quite certain you cannot.
But I might have been able to do it back in the day.
Wow. Okay.
4.83.
That's moving pretty good.
It's pretty good, but
let's not go down this road.
All right. Running the mock drafter here.
Okay.
All right. So
I wonder if they'll be finalizing there soon because I think in a week or so their guide comes out, which is kind of like their final
pretty
ranks.
much locks it in. Yeah. We should be getting the beast here soon as well.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I think that's on the 1st.
Players available. Luther Burden, wide receiver out of Missouri. James Pierce, edge rusher out of Tennessee. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas. Walter Nolan, defensive lineman from Mississippi. Omarion Hampton, running back North Carolina. Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. Gray Zabel, offensive tackle. They must have adjusted their rankings.
Yeah, it sounds like it's different, right?
Derek Harmon, defensive lineman from Oregon. Nick Scourton, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Darius Alexander.
Okay. I think Nolan stands out.
He does.
Who would you rather have, him or Hampton? I'm just curious your thoughts on it. If you had to pick between Nolan and Hampton only, who would you pick? And you couldn't trade out. I mean, like in a vacuum, you only get one of those two players. Who would you rather be a Pittsburgh Steeler next year?
Walter Nolan.
Me too. I think there's actually a pretty decent drop-off between him to Harmon, too. Like, I still don't think I could take Harmon at 21. I could take Nolan there and be happy. Supposedly there's this off-the-field stuff, but whatever it is, it hasn't shown up big. You put that guy under Cam Hayward's watch for a year, you could really, really have something.
He's my number one ranked defensive tackle in this draft.
I had him 3, and I kind of chickened out.
I think I had him 1, Grant 2, or vice versa, and then I got the other.
And Graham all the way down to 3. Yeah, I might if I were to redo it. Did we just take him?
We only have one trade offer, and it's from the Dolphins, who don't pick again until 48.
Ooh. I would consider trading down 3 or 4 spots and just roll the dice. He's still there.
Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider, if you drafted Burden here, would you consider moving George Pickens then?
Yeah, but I probably want another. I mean, that doesn't mean you couldn't take one in round 3, a Jack Beck, or somebody that's a little different.
Yeah.
I like Burden a lot.
You then have a burden in hand.
Burden in hand, yeah. Nice. Well done.
Where would you rather have?
I mean, I'd still take Nolan over.
Nolan.
I'd take Nolan and Pickens over.
Yeah, I would too.
Burden and the one in the bush. You know. Did we just take him here?
Let's take Walter Nolan.
Okay.
There it is.
High upside.
Huge.
I mean, yeah.
All right, I'm going to pause here. We're at 51. Let's see where we're at in terms of what is available. So I'm just going to look here I want to look at the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Higgins is gone. Derek Harmon is gone. We don't need Harmon, though. Hampton went at 24. So the running backs are untouched since Hampton at 24. So everybody's still available at 51.
Judkins would be my next.
We have 32 more picks until we make our selection.
That means we got to give up future seconds or something to get anywhere near this. I'm not interested in trading either one of my top 2 picks next year.
Okay. I'm going to resume then.
Okay.
Now we're we're at 60.
I mean, you wouldn't consider trading Pickens.
Caleb Johnson and Judkins went back-to-back at 57 and 58.
Okay. I think I know your answer, but I just want to throw one thing at you because you did mention a Pickens trade. Would you trade Pickens straight up for the pick you use for Judkins?
For 58?
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're sitting there in the midway through the second round and, boy, I really want to get Judkins here, but the only thing
no, because then I have to draft another wide receiver.
Right. I mean, again, if I went D-line and I trade Pickens straight up for Judkins indirectly, I would not do that.
No, nor would I.
I can't find another Pickens.
No.
I can find Judkins, the guys I can win with.
Yeah, and, the Iowa State wide receiver's gone. So he would be a Pickens-like. Jaden Higgins is a Pickens-like player.
Yes, I like him a lot. There's also really a shortage of those guys. I mean, just true – Steelers have 2, which is rare. Just prototypical X-receivers on the line of scrimmage. There's a shortage right now in the league.
All right, I'm going to resume.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Scatabo also went.
Okay.
Dylan Sampson went. The running backs are gone. Travion Henderson went.
This is something I've been wanting to bring up too. Like, in a lot of these mocks, which I think are pretty realistic, they're not 100%, of course, and we're predicting the future. A lot of running backs go before the Steelers' third-round pick consistently.
Yeah.
I just don't know if there's that many landing spots in the league. I mean,
I hear you.
I mean, some of these teams that are bad at running back are really bad at left tackle. And
like Carolina took Dylan Sampson.
No way.
They're not taking Dylan Sampson.
I mean, they have so many other needs. They signed Dowdle. I don't think they'll even draft a back unless it's like 6th or 7th round.
Now the Jaguars took Travion Henderson.
That I could buy.
Maybe I could buy.
ATM won't be back.
The Browns took Scatabo.
That I could buy.
Houston took Quinshon Junkins.
They have a lot of picks now, and Mixon's probably one more year.
Carolina also took Caleb Johnson.
Wow,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's not going to happen.
Right, of course.
They're not taking 2 running backs.
That's the thing. I just don't know that there's a ton of landing spots.
Yeah.
I think these guys will fall more in the real world than our mocks.
Top players available to us here at 83. Josh Farmer.
I would consider it.
Jared Wilson. Kevin Winston, the safety out of Penn State. R.J. Harvey, running back out of UCF.
Not a bad player.
Jalen Noel, wide receiver out of Iowa State.
It'd be useful.
Jonas Ivania, offensive lineman out of Arizona. DJ Giddens, halfback out of K-State. Jalen Royals, wide receiver out of Utah State. Wyatt Millum, offensive lineman out of West Virginia. Tate Ratledge, guard out of Georgia. Cameron Williams, offensive tackle out of Texas. Savion Williams, wide receiver out of TCU. Latham Ransom, defensive back out of Ohio State. Andrew Makuba, safety out of Texas. Devin Neal, running back out of Kansas. Charles Grant and Anthony Belton, the 2 offensive linemen, William and Mary, NC State. Jalen Milroe. David Walker, edge rusher out of Central Arkansas. Damian Martinez, running back out of Miami.
My vote would be running backs next round. And hope for Neal or Martinez to still be around, or Harvey. They're not great, but I'm a Martinez guy. I was intrigued by both tackles, Belton and William and Mary. Noel's really interesting to me.
He's a good player.
Yeah, and he's a little different than what they have.
He's also a punt returner and kick returner, really good at it.
Yeah, and will Austin be here in 2 years? I don't know. But he's definitely more physical than Austin. Yeah. I mean, you would have a nasty group of wideouts. But I also thought of Farmer. I mean, those would be my options there. Tackles are hard to come by. It's not a huge need. Farmer really attacks. I mean, you go crazy on D-line, which I don't think anybody would cry about. Noel's kind of too good to be true a little bit, in a way, you know? Feel strongly about any of those dudes?
I think I would take Noel.
Would you?
I would.
I mean, you're trying to score a lot of points. You really want to revamp your passing game with quarterbacks and running backs.
And, again, George Pickens.
He could be a post.
It could be a situation where Noel is your slot, which is primarily where he lines up anyways, but he can also kick outside because he's got the size to do it. He ran a 4.4 at the combine. He had a 42-inch vertical at the combine. Like, he is
he's a
supreme athlete.
He's a supreme athlete. And he's not just a little guy.
I can use him on kick returns. I can do all kinds of stuff with him.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, if that's your guy, and maybe next year's first-round pick would say thank you for having Noel around. You know what I mean? I'm not going to fight you on it. He's probably would be our highest-graded player.
He's a good football player. All right, Jalen Noel it is. I didn't go into this thinking wide receiver.
No, right, but if there's one looking at you.
Okay, we're up at 123.
Are you fielding offers for Pickens now?
No, not now. No, I'm not going to take a 4th-round pick for him.
I'd say I don't want next year's picks at the moment either. No. Right.
Not unless somebody wants to give me a 2 right now. And even that would be.
Right. It doesn't help me win this year.
Yeah. Top players available. Devin Neal, running back out of Kansas.
That would fit the bill.
Jonas Sanker, safety out of Virginia. Riley Leonard, quarterback out of Notre Dame. Jalen Rivers, offensive lineman from Miami. Noah Williams, cornerback out of Cal. Jaden Blue, running back out of Texas. Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, offensive tackle out of Florida. Willie Lampkin, guard out of North Carolina. Dylan Gabriel, quarterback out of Oregon. Bashal Tutin, running back out of Virginia Tech. Ahmad Hassanin, I should say, edge rusher out of Boise State. Looks like the running backs got hit again.
Yeah, I say, is it Neal or Tutin or bust?
Let me see what else is just floating out there at running back. So you got Neal, Blue, Tutin, Brashard Smith, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Jarquez Hunter is still there. He's not tall, but he is put together.
Yeah, he's not little.
I talked to him at the Senior Bowl.
Really?
He was pretty rocked up. Killel Mullings from Michigan, Trevor Etienne, Kyle McGonigal, Marcus Yarns, Jordan James, Taj Brooks, Ollie Gordon.
I think you probably need to pounce on one of these running backs.
Taking Devin Neal here?
Would have preferred Martinez, but yeah.
I can't get past the issues with
the toot and fumbles.
The toot and fumbles are something Mike Tomlin will not put up with.
It's bad, yeah. I guess Neal.
Okay, Devin Neal it is. Passing on quarterback again here, though.
It might not be a quarterback year.
We're up at 156. Benjamin Urasek, tight end out of Georgia. Kalal Mullins, halfback out of Michigan. Jake Bringenstool, tight end out of Clemson. Kobe Hudson, wide receiver UCF. Trevor Etienne, running back out of Georgia. Kyle McCord, quarterback out of Syracuse. R.J. Oben, edge rusher out of Notre Dame. Kobe King, linebacker from Penn State. Jackson Haas, tight end out of Georgia Tech. Upton Stout.
Quick question for you.
Yeah.
Is like the nose from Bama, Smith, or
Tim Smith is there.
Black, or one of those guys from Iowa.
You know what I noticed?
One of these big power.
Yahya Black is not on Pro Football Focus's rankings at all.
Oh, you can't even draft him?
Can't even draft him.
That's crazy.
He's a good player.
He's a good player. I put him right next to Smith. Is pure nose power.
I was looking for him. I was messing around with this the other day. I'm like, where's Yahya Black at?
Huh. That's interesting. I wonder how that works. But I would consider Tim Smith there.
I would take Tim Smith. I mean, Tim Smith's a man in the
middle.
He's
a man, yeah. I mean, he's a full-grown Bama, hard-to-move, big person.
I would bet when the Steelers took Jalen Milroe out to dinner, Tim Smith was probably there eating as well.
Along. Yeah. Kicking the tires.
They don't just take one dude out to dinner.
No,
they take several.
Right. I'm cool with that. Right.
Take Tim Smith there.
He might be as good as Adams or the noses are available on the team right now.
All right. We're at 185. Kyle McGonigal, running back out of Rutgers. Marcus Yarns, running back out of Delaware. Tyler Shuck, quarterback out of Louisville. Yeah. They're just way too low on him.
Mm-hmm.
Jonah Monheim, center out of USC.
Would you consider another back?
No.
I mean, I know it's full. The room's full, but
yeah, I think you could sign one after the draft and still get value there. Tonka Hemingway, defensive lineman from South Carolina. We're out of that market too.
Yeah, that's over.
Curtis Rourke, quarterback out of Indiana.
That'd be fine.
John Williams, offensive tackle out of Cincinnati.
Don't know much about him, but a tackle's
He's
appealing.
Tall. I think he's like 6'5", 320.
Okay.
Jalen Lane, wide receiver out of Virginia Tech. Caden Prescorn, I should say, tight end out of Mississippi. Brady Cook, quarterback out of Missouri. Jack Nelson, offensive tackle out of Wisconsin.
I like Cook.
We haven't taken him.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. There's a lot to like about Cook as a quarterback. He's intriguing to me. I didn't hear much else that was.
Cameron Jackson was still there too. He would be another guy that I would look at as a nose. That
I mean, we're out of that market.
We're out of that market,
but yeah.
What are you feeling?
I think I'd go with the quarterback.
Which one?
Cook. Your McCord stuff's been sticking, or not McCord, the
Curtis Rourke.
Rourke stuff's been sticking with me. If he can't do anything this year, it just makes it tough, man. I want to develop this guy, but if I can't, what am I doing, you know?
Yeah, well, I hear you. All right, Brady Cook.
Yeah, I think Brady Cook is a good athlete. I think there's tools there.
And no, that doesn't take you out of the market next year at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Right. You're just taking a shot.
All right, we're up now at pick 229. Jalen Conyers, tight end out of Texas Tech. Katan Crawford, safety out of Nevada. Jamon Dumas Johnson, linebacker out of Kentucky. Rondé Gadsden II, tight end out of Syracuse. Graham Mertz, quarterback out of Florida. Craig Woodson, safety out of Cal. Jimmy Horn Jr., wide receiver out of Colorado. Malachi Moore, safety out of Alabama. Hunter Wohler, safety out of Wisconsin. Jaquindon Jackson, running back out of Arkansas. John Quavius Marks, running back out of USC. Karan Reed, linebacker out of Utah.
I can't say any of those things are moving the needle for me.
They're too low on Ty Robinson, too. He's still available.
Yeah.
He should not be available.
100%.
Josh Gray, the guard out of Oregon State, is there.
I was going to say, what kind of like interior linemen are there floating around? They didn't sign
player.
Herbig. I mean, there's a spot for the interior line.
So you got Timothy McVeigh out of North Carolina State, Josh Gray out of Oregon State, Clay Webb out of Jacksonville State, Marcus Weir out of Montana State, Drew Kendall out of Boston College, Cooper Mays out of Tennessee, Luke Newman.
There's 3 or 4 Michigan of those State. Names. Jackson State,
Nash
Montana
Jones
kid,
out of Texas Tech.
Boston College,
Texas
Kendall's
State, I should say.
Son. There's some decent prospects still there.
Let me just look at the tackles here, too. You got Xavier Truss out of Georgia, Trey Wettig out of Indiana, Carson Vincent, Alabama A&M, Asa Pohl out of Washington State, Dalton Cooper out of Oklahoma State.
One of the small school kids kind of interests me. Vincent or the Jackson State dude or the Montana guy.
Okay. Truss had a lot of pub.
Mm-hmm.
Just a massive human. He might be a guard, though. He's 6'7", 320, though. Be a pretty big guard.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a foot speed to play tackle in the NFL.
I don't know what kind of outside zone player he'd be either in terms of getting out and blocking on the move.
I mean, their highest rated players are the guards: Timothy McVeigh, Josh Gray, Clay Webb.
I was impressed with Gray at the combine as a mover.
I was too.
I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
I think he plays any of those 3 spots on the inside too.
All right,
let's take him.
Josh Gray, it is. Could be a potential starter down the road. Who
Could
knows?
be right.
Just throw another one on against the wall.
When in doubt.
All right. So we came out of that with Walter Nolan in the first round, Jalen Noel, the wide receiver out of Iowa State, in round 2, Devin Neal in round 4 out of Kansas, Tim Smith, nose tackle out of Alabama, in round 5. In round 6, we got Brady Cook, the quarterback out of Missouri, and in round 7 at pick 229, Josh Gray, the interior offensive lineman out of Oregon State.
I liked our Noel pick, but that sends us down a different path than usual.
Which is kind of why I wanted to do it.
Yeah. And I didn't love what happened after that, but I would like to be better at running back than we are. But if you block it up and you get guys out of the box, and Aaron Rodgers is slinging it with more 11 personnel than you used to play, and Noel's out there or Austin or Wilson, got some backup plans besides the 2 outside, go up and get it guys.
Yeah. Just gives you another option over. He's willing to go over the middle.
Oh, yeah. No,
tough guy.
A nice addition.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd feel a lot better if we'd have traded down in round 1 and got him there with more picks. And
we get asked a lot about, or get asked a lot on the message board, don't they need another receiver? I'm like, and people want a first round receiver. I'm like, they used the second round pick as a receiver.
Yeah.
You got DK Metcalf.
He's part of this draft class.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you have to ignore it, but if you left this draft without a receiver, I think they could be okay.
Yeah, I think it would be fine.
I mean, there's 5 guys on the team right now that I think are making the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roman Wilson, you don't know.
Right.
I mean, he might be good. I mean, he might be a real contributor.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time a guy has missed his entire rookie year and then come out and...
Yeah. Let's not just forget about him.
Yeah.
He's part of the mix.
Yeah. Walter Nolan will be...
Real
valuable,
enticing,
yeah.
21, I got no problem with Nolan.
Yeah, nor do I.
Yeah.
Nor do I. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley, and this is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. This is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network, and you can hear The Drive every Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. You'll also get a bonus show on Sunday this week because Matt and I will be down at the league meetings in West Palm Beach starting Sunday. Those will kick off. There'll be some different things talked about in terms of rule changes and things of that nature. Of course, Mike Tomlin will speak. Omar Khan will speak.
Oh, there's a lot going on, yeah.
Art Rooney II will talk once everything wraps up, to give us a rundown on potential rule changes, those kind of things. And, you have all the coaches available for the luncheons and the breakfasts, I should say. And
that's a pretty cool thing. I mean, there's 16 big round tables with all the AFC head coaches sitting there, and then media folks all, putting their questions in and recording everything. Definitely a cool event. Assistant coaches aren't even there. I mean, it's usually like head guys, GMs, owners, obviously, and us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go Saturday and come back Wednesday.
Yeah,
We'll
be back hopefully in time to do the show on Wednesday.
Some crazy delay, whatever. Yeah. But right.
It's also a time I would think that a lot of teams start talking more in depth about potential trades in the draft. You get all the movers and shakers are there.
Yeah.
Anybody
I really want to get up in the top
decision
10
makers will all be there in one place for 4 days.
Yeah, I bet you're right. And you definitely see GMs chatting. They go off in the corner or whatever. I mean, it's no secret. It's not before the tampering period or anything like that. They have every right to talk trade or who's available or, hey, a lot of those trades happen. Okay, let's just use the Steelers for example. Hey, we might put feelers out this time. We're interested in trading down if XX and X are all go as sort of as we expect in the top 20. Who are the teams that might want to come up? You only got 15 minutes on the clock.
Yeah. Well, those are phone calls that get made in the week before the draft as well.
Absolutely.
But I'm talking more player trades and things of that nature taking place here as well. Like, hey, who on your roster? Like, you got somebody now that free agency's over. You got an excess this or that?
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
I bet there's a lot of talks in general, just personnel moves.
Yeah,
makes sense. I don't know if Titans are open for business, but I'm sure the Giants and some other teams are going to be banging on their door at the owners' meeting.
Bill Barnwell today on ESPN put together a list of 2025 NFL Draft Round 1 trades. Which team should make moves?
Okay.
And I would have included perhaps the Steelers on here because, again, I'd like to recoup that second-round draft pick.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like as dire as
or
Vikings.
Something. I'd like to get another pick on day two
pick would be great. I mean, even if it's only a third and you move back 5 spots, okay, that gives me something else. That's one more bite at the apple, or that's a running back we didn't have, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, your draft goes much better if you have that pick, even if you have to move back a few spots.
And, of course, as we say all the time, you do have DK Metcalf. He wasn't free. I mean, he is on the team that was added here, but it would be nice, especially as strong as day 2 looks. I'd like to end up with 2 picks there at some point.
Yeah. Trade down for Barnwell. The Cleveland Browns at 2.
Okay. I'm fine with it unless they're sold on Sanders.
They've got 11 picks already.
They got a lot of picks. They got a lot of needs. I mean, I think they're going to stick and pick Sanders or Carter.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Trade down from number 11, the 49ers.
I guess they have a lot more. I mean, they're sort of like the Steelers in that they're just racking up comp picks for next year. And the guys that left, I don't think surprised them. But it was a lot of bodies that left the building.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I don't know if they're a contender. Is their window shut?
It says, in terms of rookie contract performers, the Niners are lacking. They traded a total of 8 draft picks to acquire Trey Lance and Christian McCaffrey, including 3 first-rounders to go get Trey Lance.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if they didn't hit on Purdy. I mean, it would be a nightmare.
They would be disastrous right now.
And if Ayuk's not ready early in the season, McCaffrey, Trent Williams are not young. It kind of feels like a punt year.
The only player they have left from their 2021 draft is cornerback DeMondre Lenore.
Okay.
Or DeMamador Lenore, I should say.
They haven't drafted great the last couple
Purdy's
years.
Their only starter from the 22 draft.
Wow. Pretty brutal.
Yeah. Their 9 picks in 2023 got them Jake Moody and Jair Brown, who got benched last year.
They're a good comp team. I mean, not to mention, they're the best at minority candidates getting hired elsewhere. They picked up a lot of comp picks for those, but they didn't make the most of them. There's a lot of third and fourth round picks in the last couple of years, and I'm not sure who the stars are of the group.
Yeah, it's not pretty. Trade up team. We've done this one multiple times. The Detroit Lions.
I can see that. They don't need much. Go get an
edge rusher.
Go get an edge rusher that they love. If there's a run on them, I'm not waiting around hoping Pierce is still there.
Could happen.
That could absolutely happen. I mean,
a
lot of teams need edge.
I want to get up ahead of Baltimore and some of those teams that might be in that edge market.
Yeah. I mean, there's the Chargers, the Bengals. I'm thinking about teams around the Steelers that could use edge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Denver would be done there.
Yeah. So they're definitely somebody that I would talk to. And if you're going to go up from 28 to 21.
Probably get that late second.
It's probably going to cost you that second-round pick.
Because it's a late one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you have to throw them a fifth or a future pick or something. I don't know. I mean, right now, would you trade 21 for 28 in the second?
Yes.
I think I would too. Not knowing who's on the board.
Not even knowing who's available. There'll be somebody at 28 that I like, and I'll definitely like having that second-round pick.
And not to mention, I mean, if the D linemen start falling off the board, I can still get back to 25.
Right, I can
with a future third or
somebody else
third or whatever. Right.
We'll see some teams here. Other teams want to move back. Trade up. The Seahawks at 18.
They get a bunch of picks on day 2 now.
Yeah.
I don't know who the target would be necessarily, but I definitely. What's interesting about them too, I don't know if they'd be a Jackson Dart team or not, but their Darnold contract's really a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
I mean, so
which was the way that one should have been worked.
Yeah. I mean, they could keep him if it works out great, but it's not like they're stuck with him forever.
Yeah. Trade down. The Washington Commanders at 29.
They've traded a lot of picks for Tunsil and Debo.
They have done that.
Yeah. I mean, so I would assume give me more picks.
Yeah.
Lattimore. They've got rid of a lot of picks.
They're an old roster, too.
I know. They're old and young.
Yeah.
And they're older than they should be.
Not much in between.
Right.
Trade down. The Vikings from 24. Same thing. They don't have a second-round pick.
Or a third.
They've got nothing in between. Nothing on day 2.
Yeah, that's a hard way to live. And I don't think they made a day 2 pick last year.
Yeah. That's
a McCarthy trade. And they traded up for Turner, too.
Yeah. Trade down the Raiders from 6.
I guess if you could still get Genty.
Who are you trading down, though, from 6? Who's coming up to get somebody at 6? If it's not a Genty.
I'd say if it's Sanders is still there, does someone move up for that? Maybe. The reason if
Sanders is still there, do they take him?
Do they take him, too?
Yeah. Geno Smith's not a long-term answer.
I didn't read the article, but I guess why I would put them there if I were Barnwell is there's probably 5 names I'd be happy with. You know, maybe it's Will Johnson, maybe it's Mason Graham or Genty, there's a lot of things they could use. I guess I get that, and they don't have their pick from the Geno trade.
Trade up, the Packers.
I understand that one because one thing I was critical about them that I thought really showed up late in the year in playoffs is who's their stud. You know, like who's the edge rusher that ends games for them? Yeah. Who's the wide receiver? Like they were supposed
Gary's
to.
a good player, but he's not.
And he kind of coming off a down year too. But like if I put another first-round pick with him, Van Ness doesn't look like he's that guy. Like their receivers are fine, but they were supposedly interested in Metcalf. Like, wouldn't they look a lot better with Metcalf right now? And Jaden Reed's your 2, and like who's your star? Who's your game changer on that team? There aren't many or any.
Yeah. Well,
any position.
We just went through the draft, our mock draft, and Burden was there.
Yeah.
Would they consider moving up to go get him?
Certainly, if McMillan, I would think would be.
Golden
there,
was already gone.
Yeah.
Those guys were gone.
Right. I would if I were them.
Yeah.
I think he's.
You're not going to get anything potentially out of Watson this year.
Right. I need some explosive outside or just explosive playmakers in general. And I think an edge pass rusher makes sense too.
Yeah.
They usually draft defense.
And you're not going to get a second round. You're not going to get their second round pick.
Where do they pick? Like
23.
No.
But you might get the third.
You might get the third, and then we're back to
now I got two thirds, and I can do something here.
Right. Like if we would have done our mock with that extra third, still got Nolan 2 picks later.
Yeah.
That's probably instead of Neal, we probably ended up with Scatabo or somebody like that. That's a difference in running back.
Or I package one of those 2 thirds in next year's 5th to move up higher in the 3rd round to make sure I do get.
Yeah. Or it ends up, we didn't draft an offensive tackle in that draft. You end up with Grant as your extra guy or something like that.
Those are his teams that
could be on the move.
Yeah, I don't think Tennessee is trading out of that spot.
There's no indication.
I think the Giants would love to trade up to make sure they get one of the quarterbacks.
I don't think anyone's picked up the phone in Tennessee.
Yeah.
The Saints are really interesting to me because they're so aggressive all the time, and they trade up a lot. Could they love one of the quarterbacks? Even Dart? I don't know if they'd trade up for Dart, but they trade up for Davenport. They've traded up for Penning. They trade up for not whoever they love. I just wonder if they'd go get to 4 or something like that.
I just want to look here. I haven't really done this yet. Who's lacking in picks this year?
I think that was a big thing that Barnwell did, is who's short on day 2 picks.
Like the Cardinals have 6 picks total. 16, 47, 78. They just don't have a 6th rounder,
okay,
so they can live with that.
Yeah.
The Falcons only have 4 picks. The Falcons should be a team that wants to move back.
Yeah. Now, they have to add an edge guy. They only have 4 picks.
15, 46, 118, and 218.
Wow. Yeah, they have a lot more needs than that.
Or actually, they have 5. They have 2. They have 218 and 242.
Okay, but they're late.
2 7th-round picks. That doesn't do you a whole lot of good.
I mean,
You got 3 of the top 217 picks.
Yeah, they should definitely be a trade down candidate.
I
don't think they're going to get anything for Cousins.
The Ravens have 11 picks, but just 3 of the top 128.
Okay, and they're late.
They got a lot of compensatory picks, but they're all late compensatories.
And maybe they look to move up.
The Bills have 10 picks. 30, 56, 62. 109, 132. So the Bills would be a team that I would be interested in talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, you want to move up from 30? Give me one of those. Give me 62. Give me 62 or 56.
I was wondering where their extra picks are from. I think it's from the Diggs trade.
Yeah.
But they gave up a 3rd for Amari Cooper,
right.
too.
They moved back a bunch of times last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. They got out of round 1 and took the receiver at the end, beginning of round 2.
And they've got 3 5th-round picks.
They could be a move-up team for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could be active.
They might be a similar situation to the Packers, too. Like, give me a difference maker, receiver, or edge rusher, somebody that's an upper-tier player.
Carolina's got 9 picks. Chicago's got they got 7, 1, 2 and a third, or 2 and a second, I should say. They have 39 and 41.
Who was that again?
Chicago.
They've given up a lot of picks for those interior linemen.
But they're still getting picks back from Carolina.
Well, that's insane, yeah.
Yeah, they get number 39 from Carolina. The Bengals have all their own picks.
They never move anyway.
Except they don't have a 7th. They got 6 total picks. Cleveland, 10 total picks.
They got a ton.
233, 67, 94, 104, 170, and then just some later round picks.
I wonder if they start trading up in like the mid rounds, though.
Maybe.
Package some
targeting
stuff
some
up
guys.
In the 3rd round or whatever.
The Cowboys have 10 picks.
They need them. They got a lot of needs.
Yeah. Denver has 7 picks. Rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 in the 6th.
So basically, they're
no 5th, no 7th. Detroit has 7 picks. Green Bay has 8 picks. They have 2 in the round 7.
Yeah, basically their own stuff.
And then all their own stuff. Houston has 7 picks, but
they moved all over the place.
Yeah, it's 25, 58, 79, 89. So, they could be a team that if they want to move up from 25,
I think they got an extra pick or 2 from the Tunsil trade for next year, too.
Yeah, they get 79 this year.
And I think they got a
from the Dolphins through the Eagles and then the Commanders.
Wow. It's funny when sometimes you see these picks that have changed hands like 6 times.
So would 25 and 79
that would entice me.
Get you up to,
especially if like Nolan and Grant were on the board? I'd be interested in that.
Yeah. The Colts have all their own picks, 7. Jacksonville has 5, 36, 70, and 88, 107 and 126, 142. So they're going to make
they got a wealth.
Yeah. Kansas City has 31, 63, 66, and 95.
That's from the Snead trade.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe they would move up for a tackle. I mean, it's a decent way to go back. But if Simmons goes and they want Connerly or something like that, you can't just wait around on tackles.
Right. The Raiders, 6, 37, 68, 108, 143. They got 9 total picks.
So losing in the Geno Smith trade didn't hurt them that bad.
Yeah. Chargers have 10 picks. A lot of teams with a bunch of picks.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them are late. They've got 1, 2, 3.
A lot of comp picks, I'm sure.
4. They got 4 6th-round picks.
Yeah, okay.
So not great.
Yeah, that's not great.
The Rams have 8 picks. They got 26, 90, 101. They have nothing.
They don't have a second
in between. 127, and then they've got a bunch of picks in round 6. They got 1, 2, 3, 4 picks in round 6. The Dolphins have 10 picks, 13, 48, 98, 116, 135, 150, and 155.
It's a decent haul.
3 picks in the 7th round. Vikings, they only have 4 picks.
Yeah, so that's a mess.
24, 97, which is a comp pick. So they traded both their second and their third round picks.
That's from Cousins.
Yeah. Round 5, you get pick 139, and then round 6 at 187.
They have to be looking to move down.
Yeah.
Have to be.
Patriots have 9 picks. They get 2 in round 3.
That's the Judon trade.
Yeah. The Saints have 9 picks. They've got 2 in round 3, 71 and 93. They get 9 and 40. They get 2 in round 4, 112 and 131.
That's the Lattimore trade.
Yeah. The Giants have 8 picks. They've got 2 in round 3, 65 and 99, which is a comp pick. And they also then have 105. So they get 5 picks in the top 105.
Okay. Losing Barkley helped.
Yeah. The Jets have 8 total picks, but 2 of them are in round 5, 2 of them are in round 6.
Okay, so nothing extra, really.
Yeah. The Eagles have 8 picks, 32, 64, 96, 134. And then 4 fifth-round picks.
Okay, they play the comp game well.
None of those are comp picks.
None of them are comp picks?
Not one. They're all from trades.
They do move around a fair amount, too.
Of course, the Steelers have their 6 picks.
Yeah.
The 49ers have 11 total picks, 11, 43, 75, 100. Those are that's a comp pick. 113 and 138, which is a comp pick. And then 147, 160, and then they got 3 seventh-round picks.
Barnwell had them as a trade-down team. I don't know that's
unless you need more than 11 picks.
They got a lot of picks.
Yeah.
It's hard to get 11 guys on the roster.
The Seahawks have 10 picks.
A lot on day 2.
Yeah. 18, 50, 52, which is from the Steelers. 82 and 92, which is from the Lions through the Jets and Raiders. That was the Geno trade. They got a comp pick in round 4. Comp pick in round 5, two comp picks in round 5, and then they got 223 and 234.
They certainly should be a trade-up team.
Yeah.
Maybe not in round 1, but throughout the draft.
Yeah. The Bucs have 6 picks. They don't have a 6th-round pick. The Titans have 8 picks.
But they're on their second.
35. They have their second. They have 35.
Okay, I thought that went to the
They don't have any third.
The third, okay.
They have 2 4th-round picks, 103 and 120, 2 5th-round picks, 141 and 167, and then 2 6th-round picks.
Okay. I mean, I wonder what they do with that. I mean, if it's Ward, they have any interest in moving off the early second. I don't know. Maybe.
That would be something that, maybe gets a pick in round 3 and some, get some additional stuff.
If, like, one of the quarterbacks is sitting there that people are interested in, they could get out of if they took Ward, or I don't know.
Yeah, but that's all a lot of moving and shaking. Everybody has their 1st-round pick right now.
Right.
But
there's a lot of player trades. It gets all over the place. A lot of day 2 stuff is not going to line up. Like
it's going to be crazy.
Right. Day 2 really got shook up.
Yeah. Let's get to a break here. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back to finish up the show right after this. And welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And the Steelers have made a little news today. They've claimed offensive lineman Lasictus Smith off waivers from the Patriots, who he was released last week.
Okay.
He is a guard.
Okay. I'm not familiar with him. I'll look into him tonight, but didn't know that.
6th-round pick of the Cardinals in 2022. He's played in 18 career NFL games, 3 starts in his career. So
I'm sure he's not a camp body, but I'm sure he's get him in camp, see what he looks like. Maybe he's a depth piece. Maybe he doesn't stick. Who knows?
Yeah. So
I'm sure they liked him coming out of school.
Yeah, a minor roster move, but a roster move nonetheless. Those are the kind of moves that are getting made now, and again, cost you nothing in your comp game.
Yeah, I could see another O lineman being added before the draft, even too, and
even after.
Even after, yeah, 100%.
Because that's the thing. Once the draft ends, anybody you sign after that doesn't count.
The comp game's over.
The comp game is over.
Yep. The depth chart's a little thin on the O line today. I thought Herbig or somebody like that would be in the mix. I don't think they're hurting. I don't think they have to do a lot, but another tackle would make me happy, or another guy that is position versatile.
Yeah, they brought Ryan McCullum back. They still have Spencer Anderson. They still have Dylan Cook. So it's not like the cupboard is completely bare there.
They basically have those 5 and those 3. Starting 5.
You also have Doug Nestor, Stephen Jones, now this guy.
I would like more depth.
Yeah, you definitely need to add
another veteran
to that.
Yeah.
And again, that could be like after the draft, somebody gets cut loose that you didn't expect. Or
it's not a rush.
No.
I'm not implying
they don't have to play tomorrow.
Right. It could get hairy with another injury early. Quick. We kind of saw that, but they were well suited to deal with it. So I bet they draft an O-lineman.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Especially if they pick up an extra pick.
Yeah, just to continue restocking. And
again, it always helps you in the comp game down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what they add to that. But, outside of the two lines, they don't have a lot of needs.
Running back.
And even if you didn't draft a running back, you got Jaylen Warren, you got Kenneth Gainwell. Cordero Patterson is still part of this. I know people don't want to see that anymore, but he's on the roster. Jonathan Ward, Aaron Shamklin, Evan Hall. I mean,
they call J.K. Dobbins.
Right.
I mean, there's names out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to. It seems like you should draft a back. It's a really good class. But you don't have to.
Right.
I mean, you could get away with.
And the other thing about it, if there's 25 running backs drafted this year, how many of those teams are drafting a running back next year?
Half of them at most.
At most.
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
so
it still be available.
Yeah. So, I mean, next year could be your year, and you just plug that guy in, and okay, he's it's not ideal.
Right.
Or maybe if next year you sign whatever veteran free agents out there.
And I know they're not game changers, but the 7th round running backs, the undrafted running backs.
That's what Jaylen Warren was.
They're going to be.
Yeah.
There's going to be some of those dudes that make teams.
Yeah.
Especially this year.
Absolutely.
You get those guys for nothing.
Guy should have been a 5th round pick in most years, and he's undrafted this year just because there's so many.
Give decent signing bonuses to 2 undrafted free agents that are better than the Shampkins of the world.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'll roll the dice with that.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're loaded elsewhere. If you pick up Noel that you didn't think you could have, or somebody like that.
Right. Matt, that's going to do it for the show today.
All right.
So that's one down for today. This week, we got 4 more.
Vote for Matt and Dale, right?
Vote for Pedro.
Yep.
Anyways, for my partner, Matt Williamson, for Justin Miller here on site, running the Justin Miller hotline and giving us some information on who some of these people were in that bracket. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. But I'm sure a lot of them didn't know who I am either. So,
yeah, they've never been in my kitchen.
Right.
And for Tyler Vittmeyer here, making sure our video gets out there onto YouTube. Give us a like there, or thumbs up, I should say. That always goes a long way towards getting some more. And Tyler's doing a good job. He puts together that best of on Saturdays.
Yeah, that best of, I guess, is a hit. You guys can check that out.
I mean, every show we do is a best of, but apparently people like
How do you even pick, Tyler?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I have no idea. But I'm Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.